Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Oh, come all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. Jesus is born in Bethlehem. Merry Christmas forever. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. Come on, patriots, get out of bed, dial the number, and say the Pledge of Allegiance this morning. Don't let me down. Oh, good morning, man. I tell you what, Mrs. Goober Claus is out there in the kitchen making cookies right now. Oh, it's hard to sit in the studio, let me tell you. Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, our major sponsor. They do a great job, and they've got all the tires and all the tread designs to get you through whatever the weather throws at you. As I have a telephone call going off. I don't know why they call on the cell phone. And don't forget to stop in and see any one of the 7 locations today. Then, also Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And Greystone Crossing Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have a question for you, dear lady. Where have you been? You do a great job, and you must, according to my rules, you must call back more often.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
And to you, thanks.
Thank you so much. Boy, she did a good job. I like that. Time for the weather. And the weather brought to you by K&R Rental. Roger and the crew at Roger and Out at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn on the Burley-Paul Highway. Can't miss them. They're there to offer the best tools and equipment for any kind of a project that you need to get finished up. Absolutely. And rental on this equipment for both long and short term. So please, if you're not sure what you need, don't be worried about it. Don't be embarrassed. Just call them and tell them what you're doing, and they'll help you. 678-3122. K&R Rental. Right now, here's Gina with the forecast.
Sunny skies for today, but it's still going to be cold. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting mostly sunny skies, high of 26. But when you factor in the wind chill, it's going to feel like -1. Winds out of the east at about 10 miles an hour, gusts as high as 22 miles an hour. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with a steady temperature of about 22. Tomorrow, slight chance of rain or snow in the afternoon. Mostly sunny skies, at least for most of the day, high of 34. We are expecting an overnight low of 27 and a 20% chance of snow showers by Friday. Partly sunny skies, warming up to 42, and Saturday, mostly cloudy and 41. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Gina. She does such a nice job on that weather. Appreciate it. Brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. As I said, they're right on the Burley-Paul Highway. Easy to find. They got all kinds of tools and equipment right out in their front yard. Number to call, 678-3122. Let's see. What else have I got cooking here this morning? Great program. Dave Vigo, Karen Cataline's going to be on. Idaho Fishing Game. We got all kinds of things coming in today. And I want to mention right now Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Hello, Ramsey's. All your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. When I use the word all, I'm not bragging because they do have everything you need right there. And by the way, too, if you have problems, call them, 678-0459. And they've got all your furnace filters, everything. They open the doors at 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday, and they've been in business for almost 7 decades. Holy moly. Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Guess where we're going to be tomorrow, and guess where I want you tomorrow. I have always said that my audience is so supportive and so helpful that tomorrow we're going to be over at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, for that annual Christmas, old-fashioned Christmas party. And we're going to be broadcasting live and direct over there from 8 to 11. And before it even occurs, I want to say thanks to Gina for helping get everything set up. And we're going to be over there. Santa Claus is going to be there. The lovely voice of the Ashley Ludlow that's going to be in there singing all the Christmas carols and everything. Prizes, great food. What more could you ask for at Denny's Old Fashioned Christmas tomorrow from 8 to 11 at 611 North Overland in Burley? We hope to see you there. Come by, get on the microphone, wish us and all your friends Merry Christmas, whatever. We appreciate it. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. The Burley Senior Center is having breakfast for lunch today. That'll be biscuits and gravy, hash browns, sausage, the whole 9 yards for only $5. What happened to the
10th yard?
Pardon?
What happened to the 10th yard?
He stopped for breakfast.
Hey, how was the prime rib yesterday?
Well, they were out of the prime rib by the time I got there, so my prime rib was ground up, but it was very good.
Holy smokes, Joe, you've got to set your watch or your alarm clock so you get part of the goodies.
That's right. Well, so be it. It turned out all right.
All right. Listen, Joe, Merry Christmas to you and yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for all you do for us.
Oh, God bless you, man. The Senior Center on Overland and the world's greatest cheerleader for the seniors, Joe Taylor over there. Thank you very much. Help support them, would you please? I mean, they're our seniors, a very, very valued asset. Thank you very much. Before we get rolling this morning, I want to remind everybody about Dino's Septic Service. Hello, everybody over at Dino's. And they have expanded their business to better serve more customers, and I'm telling you, they are first class. Fast, fair, friendly service. Septic tank pumping, backhoe services, mainline irrigation installation and repair, sewer and sink drain lines clean. They do the jobs that you and I don't want to do. Call them, 436-6526 or 678-1638. And they've got that big truck that says smells cargo on the way. Dino's Septic Service. You get a hold of them today. Hold on, caller, I'm a-coming. I want to remind everybody about Mountain Transmissions. Hello, Rick. Hello, everybody over at Mountain Transmissions at 504 East Main Street in Burley. They wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. When you put the transmission in drive and you end up backing through your garage door, you know you got a problem, so be sure and get that vehicle in there. Free estimates, free diagnosis. Mountain Transmissions, 678-9110. Wishing you and yours Merry Christmas. Caller, good morning. You are on the air.
Well, good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
I have a question for you this morning.
Okay.
All right, when we have a driver's license, we're required to have insurance. After looking at Channel 205 this morning, everybody, all these illegals are lined up to get driver's licenses. How can they get driver's licenses when they won't have enough money to get insurance to protect you and I?
Well, let me turn this around and ask you a question right now, Tony. If they are illegal aliens, okay, and they are standing in line outside of a courthouse to get driver's licenses, why then, my dear friend Tony, living in Twin Falls, if they're illegal aliens, aren't they arrested on the spot and sent to their home country?
Well, if we had a mayor and governors, Democratic mayor and governors like they have in New York, hey, it's fairyland for these people.
Well, if you've broken the law, which they have, I mean, come on, let's not get into a battle of semantics here. It's just plain and simple. If they're here illegally, they broke the law to get here in this country, and if they're standing on a street in a line to go get driver's licenses that they don't deserve, they shouldn't have, they should be arrested as being illegal aliens. Why aren't they being arrested?
Well, I think the country is being split up. We have, there's not much difference between socialism, communism, and the Democratic Party anymore.
Well, I mean, it's just...
Half the country is going to be legal, and the other half is going to be illegal.
Yeah. I mean, this is insane that our laws are not being followed. Now, I guarantee you that if you pull out of your driveway and you roll through a stop sign, you've broken the law, and if the police catch you, you're going to pay a hefty fine. Oh, my. You're a citizen of this country. But I guess it's okay for illegals to come in here, stand in line in broad daylight as illegals that shouldn't be here, they've broken the law, and then go in and get driver's licenses. This is insane, Tony.
Well, if they run into you or me, our life is destroyed, our families may have been killed, and these people get up and walk away.
Yep. No, I am so against this, and I'm going to be talking a little bit more about it later on. Tony, to you and Mary, the best of Christmas wishes. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much.
I think a lot of you folks. You know, Tony's right, spot on. I mean, if we want another, and I'll be very blunt, if we want another 911, we're just opening the door for it. This is stupid and witless by the Democrats to say, well, we'll give the illegal aliens driver's licenses. What? If you'll think back before 911, the absolute destitute of any kind of merit, illegal aliens that were in this country got driver's licenses and then also other documents, forged and otherwise, so they could commit the heinous crimes that were committed on 911. Oh, let's do it again. This is insane. Insane. And with that license, that driver's license, I can't remember all the times that going through various airports and going to rental cars, going all the places that I was asked for ID, that's that driver's license. And we're just giving it away to illegal aliens? Look up the word crazy. And that's what we've become. Callers are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, folks, don't leave me hanging. I mean, I know you like goobers out baking cookies and all that. We're busy, but please, I'd love to hear from you. Don't forget Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Hayburn. Dr. Bill and the crew. Now, we had a really cold night last night. It's going to be cold again tonight. And make sure that all your livestock and your kitty cats and dogs and everything have plenty of available fresh water. Very important, please. And also for the dogs and the kitty cats in the house, if you have dogs and kitty cats in the house, watch out they don't eat the tinsel and the ornaments, or you might not have your dogs and kitty cats. Very dangerous. And if there's a problem, call Ark Animal Hospital at 678-1177. Dr. Bill and the crew can and will help you. They have the warm hearts for the cold noses. By the way, I want to mention that every Monday we give away a dozen cookies to Sophie's Chatterbox. And I really want to say thank you to them. They've got a phenomenal restaurant, a great bakery, and they're located at 530 East Street in Rupert. And boy, if you want to fill up on some goodies, it's all there at Sophie's Chatterbox, and that's Monday at 8:30. We give away those dozen cookies. Don't forget about that. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. And to me, maybe you don't agree, to me this is a very sad day. And I mean that. It's a very sad, hang your head day. It's a day that will go into the history books as the day the United States House of Representatives impeached a president for what? For what? For what? What did he do? Where is the proof of anything other than the Democrats' hatred for this man and this administration and the GOP in general? For what? The dare is out there. I'm issuing the dare. I want somebody to call me. I don't care if you like me or not. I don't care if you like Trump or not. I don't care. Call me and tell me that you have bona fide, absolute 101% truth and proof that this president committed a high crime and misdemeanor. Where is it? The House will vote to impeach Donald Trump later today. Now, whether you like Trump or not, you've got to sit back and say, wow. Wow, has this country changed? Wow, has the world more respect for this country than in a long time? Yep. Wow, has our economy grown? Wow, the stock market over 10,000 points, high, since he was elected. All of these things. This is nothing more than a partisan hate vote. And for those Democrats that are listening right now, none of which call in, you are consumed by hatred, and I'm going to be blunt, stupidity. This absolutely should not be happening at all. All this hype, all this garbage by the Democrats for nothing more than their prideful arrogance and their stupidity. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I haven't heard the phone ring. Gee, I wonder how come somebody hasn't stood up and said, well, he did this and he did that and he committed this and why he's not upholding the law and he's going against the Constitution. Okay, how? How? Those silly, insane protesters that gathered around various points of the United States last night, including out in front of Devin Nunes' house in California, shouting, Trump is not upholding the law. He broke the law. What did he do? Explain it, please. These are probably mostly all punk kids that haven't got the knowledge or the wherewithal to know Khmer from Sikkim. And they certainly don't know the Constitution. Caller, I'll be right there. Thank you for your call. I'll be right there. Stand by. Barry Equipment and Rental. I want to mention those good folks at 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Nampa location. Oh, they've got all the big dudes, the Doosan wheel loaders and excavators, and they've got all the Bobcats, and they've got great lease rates, and they got great financing programs for purchase for the lifting, the digging, the pushing, the carrying. Oh, yeah. You get a hold of them today. Barry Equipment and Rental, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and Nampa. Barry Equipment and Rental, wishing you and yours a Merry Christmas. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Bell. you hit the nail right on the head again. What has he done? Or done wrong? Nothing. He's grown the economy, put more people back to work, building the wall, trying to get immigration passed so we don't have an influx like we had a couple of years ago. They're just, their hatred for him is so bad and so overpowering that they can't think of anything but to get him out of office because they know they cannot beat him.
No. You're right on. I mean, there's not one, honestly, unless the scales are tipped and the voting booths are rigged, which, of course, the Democrats probably will try. But unless anything illegal happens, there's not one of those so-called professional politicians on the left, the Democrats, whether it's Klobuchar or whether we're going to be looking at Biden or Warren or wild-eyed and wild-haired Bernie. I mean, there's not one of them that are really qualified to sit behind a desk and issue a dog restraining order.
You're right. What happened when Obama was in office? And in the middle of the night, he flew billions of dollars overseas.
Yeah.
To me, that's treason.
You want to hear something that's going to make your blood boil? Listen to this. And then caller number 2, don't you dare leave. I'll be right there, I promise. Yesterday, listen to this really carefully. Yesterday, Democratic California Representative Jackie Speier said that impeachment might be heading for a mistrial before it even gets to the Senate. Oh, really? Yeah, you know what she said? She claimed that Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell should be made to recuse himself because we're going to have a mistrial because he will not be impartial. How can you be impartial when you're the Senate Majority Leader and you're a Republican? For heaven's sakes, he doesn't want to be impartial.
Yeah, their idiocy, in my opinion, is just astronomical. They, like I said, they cannot get past their hatred. They have done in the last 3 years. They have done nothing for their constituents, nothing for this country.
Amen.
Drive people through the mud for what?
Yeah, and I don't know how much time God's going to give me to live on this good earth. You don't either. I mean, nobody does.
Nope.
But I hope, and I mean this when I say this, Donna, I hope that within the rest of my lifetime, we never see another Democrat elected to the presidency of the United States.
Well, you and me both, and I hope that no other president would have to go through something this drastic.
Amen.
This, demoralizing. I believe any other person in his position would have thrown his hands up already and said, I'm out of here.
Yeah, but Donald
Trump likes a good fight.
Yeah, but there is a red flag there that we're starting to hear news that it is becoming very wearing on the rest of the Trump family, and that really worries me. Donna, I've got another call, and I so much appreciate you and George, my dear, dear friends. God bless. Thank you so much.
God bless you, and have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Caller, good morning. I'll do your call before I take another break. Go ahead.
Yes. Deb, Merry Christmas to you. My thoughts on this are the Communist Party that's trying to take over the United States. And believe you me, there is one, and I think you believe it too to a point. But if they can't have their way, and they've been getting their way little by little, gradually by gradually, they're turning the water up on the frog in the can. If you understand what I'm talking about. And then Trump comes along and turns the power off to the stove.
Yeah.
Shows people, educates people, gets things rolling again. Our president has set back the Liberal Party, the left-leaning people who want socialism. He set them back so far that they're mad.
Yeah.
And the point I'm trying to get at from my point of view is in the Socialist Party, there's only one side that benefits, and that's the people with power. They get more powerful. they get more money, and everybody else starves to death and dies, and they don't care. And took somebody, he didn't have to be president. He had more than enough money. He could do anything he wants. But he chose to stand up for what was right. He chose to stand up for the people. And that's what's making him so mad, is now the people are getting a voice.
Yep.
And the left does not want that. And it's too bad that their constituents can't take the blinders off and realize that they are contributing to their own demise, that their stupidity and I guess you'd say self-righteousness has kept them from seeing the truth. But I better let you go, my friend. I'll talk to you later.
You know, God bless. Hey, wait a minute, partner. You can't leave without me wishing you and yours a Merry Christmas. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much. Wheels, I got to ask you because my memory's starting to avoid me on certain times. Do I have another call waiting?
No, you're okay.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Calls welcome 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I got to tell you, there's another story that when I read this story, I was, oh my goodness, this is terrible. It's tragic. And then at the very end of the story, I was so mad, I wrinkled up the paper and I threw it at the wall. I'll tell you what that story was in just a moment. I want to remind you about Quali's Electronics Christmas Sale. Oh, these are good people at 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls. My goodness, they know all about putting out the best for you. The great, great selection of TVs. Man, you walk in there, and if you're looking for a TV, they got them, let me tell you. Sound bars and audio equipment, wireless and Bluetooth speakers are all on sale. And, oh, by the way, don't forget, too, you can get a $100 gift card with a new customer basis activation of Dish Network. And hometown service and support. These are good people. Quali's Electronics, 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls. You stop in, they wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Okay, here's this story I wanted to get on. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania FedEx driver. He had to pull out his own weapon and fatally wounded an armed robber who had shot through the cab of the FedEx truck and shot the man that was driving in the stomach. Okay? Here's this driver in Philadelphia, and boy, I guess to be a driver back there, you're just literally putting your life in your own hands. Okay, so he had a gun on him, and when this guy that wanted to rob the FedEx truck shot him in the stomach, he reached down, pulled out his gun, and he killed the robber. Good. The 32-year-old driver had just finished making a delivery to a northeast Philadelphia home when this armed bad guy approached him, robbed him, and then shot him in the stomach. Well, the driver was cognizant enough and able to drive his truck to get help, and the perpetrator was found lying in the street. Again, I say the word good, one less bad guy. But here is the end of the story. Police reportedly found a vehicle with blood and a shell casing and several stolen items inside, and a second suspect was found with the vehicle. Okay, proof in the pudding about the crime committed against the FedEx driver. But here's the last sentence of the story that ought to make all of us cringe. Police are currently determining whether the driver's actions constituted an act of self-defense. I got to read that again. Police are currently determining whether the driver's actions constituted an act of self-defense. These bad guys were trying to rob the FedEx truck. They shot the driver in the stomach. The driver fired back, killing one of the bad guys. And the cops are even considering for 5 seconds whether the driver's actions constituted an act of self-defense? This is the nutso world that we live in. These people, and I mean it when I say these people that are on the liberal left are nuts. The drivers should have been applauded. The drivers should be given the key to the city. The drivers should be hailed as Man of the Year. The police are currently determining whether the driver's actions constituted an act of self-defense. He was shot in the stomach. They were trying to kill him. How dumb. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Somebody's got to call and give their comment on that story. I mean, holy cow. Hey, I want to remind you, for all you last-second Santa Clauses, by the way, before I start that, I got to tell you that Deanna and I went to town yesterday, and we, without having any major arguments, without having any major conflagrations, without having any stare-down or glare-down contest, we finished our Christmas shopping. Oh, dear. Well, I urge you to stop over to Sportsman's Warehouse and have an unforgettable Christmas. They've got so many things in there that the people you're buying for are going to love. Let me tell you. They've got a Camp Chef Smoke Pro DLX pellet grill. Was $4.99. They've got it marked down to $3.99. Oh, boy, I'm telling you. And they got 20% off all the Lodge Wildlife cast iron skillets. Save a bunch of money. And don't forget, too, they've got binoculars, Vortex Crossfire HD binoculars. Oh, my goodness, just marked down to $149.99. You better get on in to Sportsman's Warehouse at 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. Say hello to Reese and the crew at Sportsman's Warehouse. Nobody wants to comment on that story about that FedEx driver? I'm amazed. I mean, we can't protect ourselves anymore. Right away, like in the instance of this driver, and I'm going to try to find out more about this driver, and I hope and pray that he's going to be all right, and that whether he has a family and children or whatever, he's doing his job, delivering packages prior to Christmas. And the bad guys tried to rob him, shot him in the stomach, and they didn't know that this driver was armed and was going to shoot back to protect his life like he should have. But the police are currently determining whether the driver's actions constituted an act of self-defense. The guy's shot and bleeding all over the inside of his cab, and they're going to figure out whether it was an act of self-defense or not? Like my grandmother used to say millions of times, ay, 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 ay. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, Zeb, this subject brings up something that's always raised problems with me. As a commercial driver, we're not allowed to carry a firearm with us. Doesn't matter if you're driving a truck, delivery truck, doesn't matter, that you're not supposed to. Company policy says you're not supposed to carry a firearm with you. Well, and here lies the problem. If for ever any reason somebody thinks that they want to get smart and try to rob me of something I may or may not have, there's going to be a fight. And I don't care if I lose my job because it's either me or them.
That's right.
Drilled into my head at a young age of 18 years old, it's either you or them. Who's going home, you or them?
This is no more...
I'm not going to fight to make sure I get home to see my family.
Yeah, Riley, this case right here with this FedEx driver is no different whatsoever. None of our military on our military bases not being allowed to arm themselves, and then bad, evil vermin get on the base and then shoot them, and they can't protect themselves. This is lunacy.
This is crazy. It's suicidal. I mean, these guys, the FedEx drivers, okay? Right now, everybody knows that the delivery drivers, FedEx, UPS, U.S. Postal Service, you name it, they're going to be carrying some valuable packages to deliver. And so any lazy person, Doug, who doesn't want to work and would rather disrupt other people's happiness, knows this. So what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah.
And if you get shot first, by all means, you have a reason to fight back, don't you?
I have no clue why the police would even think for 5 seconds. I'll give them 5 seconds. Actually, it should be a second, a fleeting thought. Why they would want to even determine whether that driver is acting in self-defense. The guy's sitting in the seat of the pickup of the FedEx truck, bleeding from a stomach gunshot wound. For heaven's sakes, yes, he had a right to protect himself.
Well, that's what you get from liberal policies. People who are too lazy, who will vote for a liberal, let them get off the hook. Let them go ahead and be taken care of. But the person who is actually working and most likely is voting on the right side of things, well, we'll throw the book at them because they had no right to keep the lazy vermin from stealing what's not his in the first place.
That's right. Riley, I appreciate you. Got another call, but wait, thank you very much. Caller, good morning. What do you think about this?
I think it is leading down the road to socialism and the public rising up and having a revolution against it.
Well, I think, by the way, it's good to hear from you. I've been kind of worried about you. You haven't graced our program for the last couple of days, and I was going to send out a posse to see if you were still there.
Well, I sent you a note that don't pay the ransom, I've escaped.
Oh, I didn't get that note. Anyway, Doug, this is nothing more than liberal sleaze putting people that are good people in a position of their lives are in danger, but they can't do a thing about it.
Yes, and to all those commercial truck drivers out there, I was one in a past life for many years and went clear across the country. I carried a flare gun, and that is considered safety equipment. And I'll guarantee you, if somebody was going to harm me or get in my truck, they would get one of them right in the gutter wherever I could hit them with it.
You know, let me ask you this, and Riley brought it up a moment ago. The FedEx driver, and at this time of the year, more so than other times perhaps, delivering very, very costly items to various homes on his route. And these bad guys know this, and they're going to just reap the harvest of stealing. And they approach the cab, they shoot the guy in the stomach, and how? Honestly, Doug, unless I'm missing a point here by this story, and I've got the whole story in its entirety, how can you point your finger at all to the driver for pulling out a gun and protecting his life and also the goods and services that he has on his truck? My goodness, 100 years ago, they'd have given him the key to the city.
Exactly. But you remember reading in the Bible that says in the end times what's wrong is right and what's right is wrong.
Amen.
And this guy protected himself, self-defense. There should be no question whatsoever. The bad guys were committing a crime. Why do they get more rights? Why are they considered innocent until proven guilty, but this driver is guilty until proven innocent?
How do you define any more clearly? I mean, like it's in capital letters and it's on white paper and 3-foot tall letters. That how do you define self-defense any more clearly than a driver getting shot in the stomach, driving a FedEx truck, and he turns around and he fires back? I mean, how much more self-defense do you need?
Apparently, the left needs a lot more than that. But any person with common sense would know that that is considered self-defense.
Yeah, but right there, two words you said that are completely gone in our society. Completely gone. Common sense.
Exactly. It shouldn't be called common sense anymore because it's not very common out there.
Well, I just don't understand. Do you mean to tell me scenario here that I'm traveling someplace to go to a team roping, and somebody runs me off the road, and for some reason, they think I'm carrying all kinds of money, which, boy, I've never seen all kinds of money, so that would be a misconstruction of what their thoughts are. But they run me off the road, and they come up to the pickup, and they're going to shoot me and take whatever I got. You think I'm not going to fight back, and I'm not going to mention the ways or means or methods, but I can guarantee you it's going to happen.
Oh, yeah, and you'd be within your rights.
But I will be probably looked at. Pardon?
Where does that stand your ground law?
Yeah.
I mean, you should be able to protect yourself, your family, and what you're in charge of.
We are turning into, and some people might not like this, and they go, oh, it's not that bad. But we are turning into a society of people that observe the law, care about the law, and love their families, and want to protect their property. We are turning into a society to where we're the prisoners. We're the prisoners because we have to lock ourselves in our homes. We have to lock everything up. We can't go out. We can't go this place at night for fear of our safety. We're the ones that are actually the prisoners.
Exactly. And when has this country turned into where you have to prove your innocence rather than prove your guilt?
Oh, we could go on and on, but I got a weather forecast.
That's where we're going, and if we go there are going to be people locked up. You know, like President Trump, they demanded that he comes to the Congress and prove his innocence.
Yeah.
That is totally backwards, and I'll guarantee you, that letter he wrote to Nancy Pelosi nailed it.
Yeah, but Nancy's feelings were hurt. I mean, come on. Get a handkerchief out of your pocket, dab your eyes a couple of times. Nancy's feelings were hurt.
I remember one gal that's not our president stated, if you do not accept the results of this election, it is devastating to the democracy.
Yeah. That's right. Listen, man, I hope you're doing well, and to you and yours, a very Merry Christmas. God bless you. Hey, try to make it over to Denny's tomorrow. We'd love to see you.
We'll be there, and I have a little surprise for you to put on your desk or your table in the corner, so it'll be there in the morning when you get there.
Why do I break out in a cold sweat?
No, I'm not pulling my mother on this one.
Oh, God bless you, man. Thank you very much. Take care of yourself. All right.
Can for senior centers.
Amen to that. Thank you. Thank you.
God bless.
Good friend right there, Doug. Thank you, Doug Martin. And right now it's time for the weather. Actually, it's past time for the weather, and then I'll take some more calls. Don't forget, I urge you to get a hold of Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Caller, I'll be there in 1 minute. Stand by. Locally owned and operated hearing clinic, and they know what they're doing, and they can help you with all your hearing needs for this next year, 2020. I urge you to call, and the number is 312-0957, 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, located right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room. They are waiting to serve you. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Sunny skies for today, but it's still going to be cold. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting mostly sunny skies, high of 26. But when you factor in the wind chill, it's going to feel like -1. Winds out of the east at about 10 miles an hour, gusts as high as 22 miles an hour. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with a steady temperature of about 22. Tomorrow, slight chance of rain or snow in the afternoon. Mostly sunny skies, at least for most of the day, high of 34. We are expecting an overnight low of 27 and a 20% chance of snow showers by Friday. Partly sunny skies, warming up to 42, and Saturday, mostly cloudy and 41. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zebit Duran.
Thank you, Gina. She always does a great job on our weather forecast. Brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Oh, boy, I tell you what, they know all about hearing and hearing health care. You get a hold of them today. Make an appointment, 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, I don't know if you heard about the lady who was defending herself against either her boyfriend or ex-boyfriend or husband or ex-husband, but he was was literally going to kill her, beat her to death, apparently. And she was in a situation where she didn't have a license to have the gun, but she defended herself because she had one, because, you know, maybe it was in one of those really safe gun cities where you control the gun.
Mm-hmm.
And so she used the firearm to defend herself, whatever it was she did. They both went to jail. He got out on $10,000 bond. She's still in jail, and her bond is $75,000 because she used a firearm that wasn't licensed to her, or whatever it was.
Yeah. Randy, our whole world is turned upside down. Don't laugh at me, but one of my things that I enjoy doing, I love to watch the old Western reruns of Gunsmoke and The Virginian and Bonanza, all those old TV Westerns. But you know what is prominent in every one of those old Westerns is the American ethics of, if you do wrong, you're going to pay dearly to society. And there was nothing like, oh, well, you had an unregistered gun to protect yourself, and so we're going to send you to jail too. Oh, well, you were shot in the stomach, and we're not sure that was an act of self-defense to fight back. This is crazy. This is lunacy, and it's got to stop.
I tell you what, we have just got to fight back. I read an article this morning about how the Chinese government is backing grassroots get out the vote campaign by, socialists, Maoists, Mao Zedong. And that's how they were able, in this last November election in Virginia, that's how they were able to flip the state. Virginia used to be solidly red. Now Virginia is completely blue. And if they continue to do this, see, that's the reason why they're so sure that they will win eventually.
Yeah.
Because if it isn't one way or another, by hook or crook, they will go out and outwork because we're working. We ain't got time to go knocking on. They said they knocked on 2.5 million doors to switch Virginia.
Wow. Yeah, I realize that, Randy, but I'll tell you what, I'm every day, and for those that are offended by this statement, I really don't care. I pray every day for sanity and safety in this country. I pray that we do not fall underneath the absolute destitute leadership of the Democrats and any one of their people that they're running. I pray that we can keep this president and at least for the next 4 years try to right the ship even more. I pray for the sanity of this country, and I just hope and pray that it comes true.
Well, that's the reason why, we have free will. And we've got to exercise doing right. And we can't wait for somebody else to take up the mantle of freedom. That's what the good men and women of this country are supposed to be doing.
Absolutely. Randy, to you and yours, your wonderful family, Merry Christmas. I got to pay some bills. Thanks so much. Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you. Don't forget our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7. You know what they're doing? They're delivering hams all over the Magic Valley. Yeah, they are outstanding people. Yeah, they're going to various food banks all over the valley and delivering food, hams, etc. I just absolutely applaud them. All the Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And they've got all your tires, all the different tread designs, sizes, everything for your vehicles for any weather conditions at their 7 locations. You be sure and stop in today. And they've got your tire chains. They've got the best doggone brake service with highly trained brake technicians. And they've got front end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries. A lot of people are realizing, yep, should have checked the battery. Well, they've got the best of batteries. right there at Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike in Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Once again, a reminder. Tomorrow, we're going to be broadcasting right from Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. It's the Denny's Old Fashioned Christmas Party tomorrow. Santa Claus is going to be there, ho-ho-hoing. And we're going to have Ashley Ludlow singing all the Christmas carols and prizes and great food. Holy moly! You better come on down to Denny's Restaurant tomorrow. I'll be broadcasting live and direct for 3 hours, so it's going to be a lot of fun at Denny's America's Diner. Don't miss it. Right now, we're going to take a break. And to be very honest with you, I'm going to eat one of Deanne's Christmas cookies. So here's the news coming up next from CBS. Well, here we are, back in the saddle for hour number 2. Zeb at the Ranch, good morning, and, of course, Merry Christmas. I love tossing those bells around. Thank you very, very much. Brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations with the best of tires to get you through whatever the weather throws at you. And, of course, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And Greystone Crossing Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Right now, this good word for Western Way Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're all at your disposal. Western Way Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this free land. Western Way Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Way Services.
What? You're not on the route service? My goodness, don't put it off a moment more. Run, don't walk, run to the telephone. Call them up at 734-6969 and get on the route service. Let them come by once a week, pick up your garbage, wave goodbye to it. It's gone, it's out of there. Thanks to Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Really, really good people. Oh, by the way, talking about good people, I want to talk about the whole crew at Quality's Electronics. Holy smokes, I've known this family for almost 50 years. They are the best. Hometown service and great support, and they know all about the TVs and the sound bars and the audio equipment and the Bluetooth speakers, everything. And they're having a great big Christmas sale right now. Sale prices on their great selection of TVs, sound bars, audio equipment. And they've also got those MedLift lift recliners. Did I say recliners? If I did, I know I did. MedLift lift recliners. Say that fast 5 times and see if you get a license on the FCC. Check it out today with the Christmas sale going on at Quality's Electronics. I got to try it one more time. MedLift lift recliners. There you go at 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls. Really, really nice people. And also, before I go to my next guest, who I know is going to probably chastise me a little bit and kid me, I want to remind you about Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. You know, if you're aching and paining and recouping from a surgery or an accident or whatever, don't put it off. Call them, make an appointment at 678-1191. I'm not kidding. They can help. They will help. Nick Greenwell and all the physical therapists, they know their business. Please make an appointment today, 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. And they also have Elite Fitness at 1200 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Okay, let's go to the phone line and welcome in Mr. Indianapolis. Good morning, Dave Bego.
Good morning, Mr. Zeb. Good to hear from you.
Well, it's always a treat to have you on the program. But I'm just going to slow the horse down here a little bit and pull back on the reins and say this is, in my opinion, I said it last hour, I'll say it again to you because I want to get your response. This is one of the saddest days in America, a day that's going to go in the history books as the day the U.S. House of Representatives impeached a president for what? For what? Tell me, Dave Bego.
Well, you're right. There's really nothing except just things that they're making up, and but that's their tactics. That's what they do, and the people that control the Democrats now, the far left and the unions, the mob. That's what they do, and I got to go back to this mob thing because I have to tell you, I was watching Life, Liberty, and Levin the other night, and he was interviewing Sean Hannity. And Sean kept referring to what's going on in this country is all due to the mob. And instead of saying unions, he was saying mob. But people need to understand the mob started the unions years ago. And their tactics that they use, the mafia was the mob. And the tactics they used then became the tactics of the unions. And that's the same thing they're using right now. And people need to wake up to that.
Waking up is one thing, but doing something about it is another, and that has always been my concern. People, they instead of just being cognizant of a problem, they've got to do something to rectify and eradicate the problem, right?
Well, that's right, and they got to have some backbone, and the Republican Party hasn't had any for a long time, but there are some of them that are starting to stand up and have some backbone, and I hope that we see this going forward as we move into 2020 and towards the 2020 election.
But Dave, I don't mean to keep whipping up a horse here that can't break out of a slow walk, but the point I want to make is, and many other pundits on television, radio, etc., have made the same point. What are we impeaching this man for? Please give me something that's concrete, something that's decisive, something that is absolute without a shadow of a doubt. What are we impeaching him for?
Well, we're not, and that's, there isn't anything there, and they just make up stuff, and, they talk out of both sides of their mouth, and this is what they do so that they hope they can, actually get him impeached, which I think they know they're not going to do, or they get the American people on their side, which they're not doing, and or they get him to get tired of being attacked and going through all this stuff, and he backs down and resigns from office. So, this is what they do, Zeb, and I've talked about this many times on your show. I've been through this, when we were attacked by the SEIU, and they did the same type of stuff to us and threw out stuff that had no back premise to it at all.
I just want to touch on something you said there a moment ago about Donald Trump, and there was a comment made, pardon me, yesterday by a Fox News correspondent that said, and I'm not reading this verbatim, I'm just giving a kind of a rough quote, he said that the trials and tribulations of this and everything else are starting to really wear on the president's family. That was kind of a key put in the lock of the door that makes me worried that all of a sudden what you said might come to fruition.
Well, and that's the things that, you always have to be concerned about. And, as we went through the process and everything, there was times where, my family and even my employees and that, my management people, were, really afraid of it and thought we should just back down and sign their neutrality agreement. And but I felt all along, and I kept preaching to them, no, we have to stand up, we have to use a backbone. It's going to be tough, it's going to cost us money, but it's the right thing to do for our people.
Dave, I don't know if you followed any of this last night, but these goofy, uneducated wackos all across the United States that were going up into GOP members' homes, their front yards, etc., and yelling and screaming about the impeachment of Donald Trump and how we need to uphold the law. And my question to these young people would be, wait a minute, wait a minute, just stop for a second. Let me ask you one question. What law did he break? Where are the impeachable offenses? And none of these young people, none of which I think even have probably read the Constitution or understand it, could probably give you an honest answer.
Well, and that's the way this thing goes. And these people are behind the scenes. You got to understand, so do your listeners, and the people across the country, you understand this. These people are being paid behind the scenes to go out and do this.
Yep.
And we had the same thing happen to us. And, they did rallies on all the major streets across the Midwest against us. And there'd be 1,000 or so people out there at a time. And we actually went down and just walked among these people. And they didn't know who we are. And I'd stop and ask them, I said, so why are you saying these things? And they said, excuse me. They say, well, this is what we were told to say. We were paid to do it.
Oh, my. Yeah, I know you're right. I want to shift gears a little bit, and I want to talk about something that is so repulsive to me that yesterday, and I saw this, by the way, on television, Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch was talking on Fox and Friends, and he was talking about a book that he had written. And when they came back after a news break, he basically told the audience, Merry Christmas. That was it, Merry Christmas. And the loon left is falling from trees right now this morning. They're going berserk because how dare this Supreme Court Justice get on TV and wish everyone a Merry Christmas? What in the world is going on in this world, David?
Excuse me. I've got a tickle in my throat for some reason. Because they want to change this country into a socialist, communist country without God in it. And that's what this is all about. They don't want Christmas. They don't want religion in this country or anything like that. And people need to wake up to the fact this is what socialism, communism is all about.
You know, it's a sad state of affairs that one of these loons that was supposedly one of the leaders of this attack on Gorsuch said, oh, well, this is just a way for white nationalists to get their point across how they're putting the thumb down on everybody else. The white people are saying Merry Christmas. How sick is that?
It is, but this is what they're all about and what they're trying to do and trying to get people on their side. And, of course, they're trying to say to the black community, the white community is doing this to you, you need to join us. And actually, I've seen in recent polls that the black community is now more support is being shown for Donald Trump.
Yeah. Dave, I got to ask you this question. You're a businessman. You employ a lot of people. You know what's going on in the community. You know what's going on in the pulse of America. How in the world could New York, New Jersey, and other states be so, again, using a very simplistic word, stupid and un-American to provide driver's licenses to illegal aliens? You got to comment on this one because, man, this just makes my knuckles white.
It's very simple. It's called voter fraud. They want these people coming into this country. They want more people getting across the border. That's why they don't want a border wall. And, they're trying to, throw things out there that people will say, hey, we got to get to America. And what they do then is they get to these people and say, we were the Democrats and the people that did this for you. You need to vote for us. Even though they can't supposedly legally vote, they'll get polls where they can go to that are run by people that will commit fraud and let them vote.
I asked this question the first hour. Nobody really commented on it. We kind of skimmed around the top of the ice but didn't fall through. If these illegal aliens are standing in line outside of courthouses to go in and get a driver's license, why can't we swoop in and arrest every one of them and deport them?
That's because they don't want to. In these cities that you've talked about, they're controlled by the Democrats and the far left because through the years they've been taken over, and You know, and it's just looking like other things like gun control. You know, they keep saying we need gun control, but the worst gun violence we have in the country is in these democratic cities like New York and Chicago and other places like that. And, you know, they're hypocrites. They're saying one thing and meaning another. They don't really care. They just don't want us good people to have guns, and they don't want, and they want people that are illegal to vote for them.
Okay, you've opened up the door, and now I'm going to step through and tell you this story, and I'm going to give you a real short synopsis. Did you hear about the Philadelphia FedEx driver that was delivering packages, and a guy walked up to his FedEx truck, shot him in the stomach, and was trying to do the robbery, but the FedEx man had a gun and shot back and killed the perpetrator? And long story short, there was another suspect involved in this. The whole deal was that the FedEx driver shot back, protected himself and what he was carrying in his truck. But the bottom line of this story was, and this is what I want you to comment on, police are currently determining whether the driver's actions constituted an act of self-defense. Have you ever heard of anything so goofy in your life?
No, but you're talking about another city that's to the left, and a very highly unionized city, and they're going to do these things, and it doesn't surprise me a bit, because as Sean Hannity says, the mob can, he said in his interview with Levin, he says the mob controls the media and other things, you know, kind of like the a lot of the police forces and that, and he's exactly right, and that's what's happening.
Yeah, but Dave, are we at that point in society? I think we are, where good people are actually the prisoners. Good people have to lock themselves in their homes. Good people have to run and scurry like little ants to get out of the mainstream and then run home and turn the key in the lock and brace the doors. Good people can't protect themselves, their family, or their property. That's what this story's all about.
Well, it is, but again, the good people need to understand you can't let the bad people beat you up, and you have to stand up and you have to fight back. And you know, I've been through that in life and different things and playing, you know, sports and stuff like that. And I understand that in every walk of life and everything you do, you're going to find people like this that are going to try and beat you up all the time and all that. And you have to have a backbone and stand up. And I got to tell you this story real quick. When I was in grade school, I was at a Christmas party, and this guy, he just came after me, and he was probably a couple years older than me, and you know, he smacked me around and pushed me down in the snow, and I got up and I stood there for a few minutes, and he's standing over there, and I just went over and tackled him and jumped up on top of him and sat on him and just piled him with snow and beat him up. And I got up, and he just got up and slunked his head and walked away. And did I want to do that? No, because that's not how I was brought up in life. But I knew you couldn't let a guy like that get away with it.
Holy cow. There is a John Wayne side of Dave Bego. I love it. One other thing, I'm sure that you are going to be absolutely strapped into your recliner tomorrow night and having your wife bring you soft drinks and popcorn so that you do not miss a minute of the next Democratic debate in Los Angeles.
Well, yeah, I'm sure I'll be watching some of it, but I don't know how much I can put up with. We'll see.
What good is this, Dave? I'm not trying to be funny, and I'm not trying to be denigrating to the Democrats, but what good is this debate, really? I mean, everything that could be said has been said, just a different location in Los Angeles. And what's really interesting is that of the ones that'll be up on that debate stage, do they realize or even comprehend that if the Senate lets that trial extend itself time-wise against President Trump, 5 of those senators that are running for the presidential nomination are going to have to leave the campaign trail and go to testify and sit there in that proceeding, and that's going to kind of throw a monkey wrench into their whole bid for being president.
Well, it is, and on top of that, these these candidates, they just don't really have a real strong candidate there, and they just they're going back and forth on stuff that doesn't really appeal to a lot of the American people, and I think the more they get up there and do this, and they talk about their socialism type of goal of, free this and free that and everything, I think people are waking up and getting smarter.
I got to ask you one final thought, and it's in regards to Michael Bloomberg. This story came across to my desk yesterday from a source that I really, really trust back in New York City. And it was a story that also was put in the paper by the New York Times, and it was about the alleged remarks of Michael Bloomberg telling an employee that was pregnant that, oh, brother, another employee's pregnant, why don't you just kill the baby? Holy cow, if this is true, I hope it sinks Bloomberg from any potentiality at running for president.
I do too. And, I just can't believe they do stuff like that. And that just tells you where their brains are at. And they don't care about people or life. And we got to be pro-life and care about people and kids that are coming in and stuff like that.
Absolutely. This is going to be the last program we're going to have for this year, and then we'll crank it up again in January with you on the program. But you have been one of my favorite people to visit with. You're a dear friend, and Deanne and I both wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas and a blessed New Year.
Well, thank you very much, and I wish you and your wife and all your listeners and friends a Merry, Merry, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
She's out in the kitchen baking Christmas cookies right now, and I got to tell you, I'm off my diet.
I know. I'm going through the same thing with my wife right now, too.
Okay. God bless you, man. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care now.
All right. Dave Vigo, Indianapolis, Indiana. Great, great guy. I want to remind you about our dear friends over at Hanson Mortuary. Hello, Joel Heward, staff, and family. They are so community involved, and believe me, they're always there. Always there to provide the families they serve with the best possible support and comfort. It's really a hard time for families to get through, especially this time of the year when there's the passing of a loved one. And at Hanson Mortuary, they always treat you with the highest of respect and the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. The number to call, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. Like I said, with Joel Heward, family and staff serving you. And Joel also serving you at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. And they both wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Oh, my. Let's see what else have I got to tell you about here real quick. Oh, yes, Sportsman's Warehouse. Holy moly, make it a Sportsman's Warehouse Christmas. They've got those broad-back director's chairs, those foldable chairs you can take camping. Wow. They were regularly $44.99. Now they're just $29.99. Woo, you can save money. You better get on in there. And how about this? 20% off all the Lodge Wildlife cast iron skillets. Wow. And another great buy, of course, the Northside Bozeman boots. They were $79.99, now just $59.99. You'd better do your Christmas shopping at Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. You see Reese, you tell him howdy, and stop in and really have a good time shopping at Sportsman's Warehouse. We're going to have our next guest on the program in a moment. I also want to tell you about our dear friend, Todd, and the rest of the crew over at Cameron and Siemens Insurance. And they're located on Highway 24, just going into Rupert. You can't miss them. They've got the best of life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, and employee benefits for you, your family, and your business. And when I say this, it's really true. They are dedicated and responsive to serving you. All you have to do is just call them on the landline, 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. The best serving you, Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. And also a great big shout out to Let's Ride. Oh, I tell you what, they love this angel dandruff on the ground. They love this angel dandruff up in the hills because they've got all the snowmobiles, they got all the snow bikes, they've got all the accessories. Great place to shop for Christmas, too. Hey, Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4. I urge you to stop in and see those good people today. Believe me, you're going to walk in that showroom and go, holy cow, how'd they get all this stuff in here anyway? So, and by the way, too, they got a super service department to keep you running, too. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, where the fun is sold. Absolutely. Really, really good people. Let me see, what else have I got cooking here right now? Nothing. I am going to go right to the phone line, over the river and through the woods to Karen Cataline's house we go. Good morning.
Well, good morning, Zeb. How are you?
I am peachy. Thank you for asking.
Well, it's almost the end of the year.
You know...
our president is getting impeached, and the Democrats are disintegrating. What else is new?
Merry Christmas. You know, I got to ask you something.
The producer, I said, I won't get my nose out of joint if you don't wish me Happy Hanukkah. I'm going to wish you Merry Christmas anyway because I'm just not that sensitive.
Well, let me tell you something. At the end of this program, I am going to wish you also a very Merry Christmas. I don't back up. I stay in my lane, and I fight for what's right in this country. And saying Merry Christmas is what's right.
Well, you know, I mean, you can wish me a Happy Hanukkah. I won't mind, but I certainly won't get all upset if you don't.
Okay, well,
you know.
What upsets me, though, what upsets me, Karen, and now you touched on it, and now I'm going to have you expand on it a little bit. I don't like anybody denigrating any holiday. I don't care if it's for the Jewish Happy Hanukkah. I don't care. I don't want any holiday denigrated by anybody that thinks less of those people. Christmas is under attack right now. It's a bona fide fact. And when you have people criticizing Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch, criticizing him and damning him for saying Merry Christmas, this society is sick.
Well, and I couldn't agree more. I think that, you know, I like to refer to myself, I think I've told you before, as putting the Judeo and Judeo-Christian. And I do think that our Judeo-Christian heritage is under attack right now.
Yes.
Anything that has brought peace, prosperity, individual freedom, and personal responsibility, which, of course, the left doesn't believe in, is under attack, including our Bill of Rights. They're not every, even conservative or Republican understands that, but I think under the current circumstances, people are beginning to see that what Democrats say they're against is really not what they're against.
Would you?
One other thing, Zeb, and that is that when the Democrats now, because I'm watching this preposterous hearing, I can't watch all of it because it raises my blood pressure too much, but when they wrap themselves in an American flag and patriotism and the Constitution, which they have done everything to delegitimize and dismantle, it makes me mad.
Well, it not only makes me mad, but there's another aspect that you didn't mention, and I'll throw it in. This Democratic Party at their last convention basically was the party that denounced religion and denounced God. And as of late, they'll stand there wrapped in the American flag as spouting all the Bible prophecies as if they were an evangelical preacher, and they're the farthest thing from it.
It's really disingenuous, and it is particularly egregious in my opinion because, you know, here you had, remember you had Nancy Pelosi talking about James Madison and how solemn it is.
Oh, boy.
All they're really doing is trying to grab a phony moral high ground and trying to prime the pump when Republicans use that same language, and some of them actually believe it. They are as cynical as could be. I mean, this sham, all I can hope, though, is that more and more people are watching it saying, this isn't fair, this isn't reasonable, and very frankly, this kind of a railroad could happen to any one of us, and faster.
Yeah. Karen, you wrote a piece that I thought was outstanding. It was called, Why Do Liberals Like Bloomberg Have a God Complex? And I think you really hit on something here that needs to be elaborated on. These people like Michael Bloomberg and Cuomo and Schumer and Pelosi and Adam Schiff, I think he's the primary, old pencil neck himself, but they always act like they are so above everybody else and they're so sacred and they're so holy. Why do they have such a God complex?
Well, I can only surmise, but I find it endlessly fascinating. I really do. I've been irritated with Michael Bloomberg for ages because I wrote a book ages ago in 2012 called Fat Lash, Food Police, and the Fear of Thin. And Michael Bloomberg was top of the list of the food police, telling everybody what they should and shouldn't eat, what they should and shouldn't drink, what size soda they're allowed to have. He is a self-appointed lord and master over the rest of us. Anybody with a brain ought to be horribly offended by his attitude, but even worse, the amount of money that he spends all over this country trying to enact things like red flag laws, wholly unconstitutional laws against our Second Amendment rights in states where he hasn't lived, in states where he doesn't pay taxes, and he's disenfranchising the votes of people in that state as he buys off state legislators. It's atrocious, and we can't discuss it enough. This is a man who thinks he knows better than everyone else, and he's going to put the money that he garnered from a free market system in order to shut down the free market. I mean, honestly, if you didn't watch it happening, you wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe that someone could have, I'm about to use a Yiddish word. Are you ready?
Yes.
In Idaho, I'm about to use a Yiddish word. Chutzpah. Do you know the word?
Yes, I do.
The absolute unmitigated gall of such a person. Now, I have to tell you, you didn't ask me this, but I'm going to just sort of offer it. I've been a little frustrated with my fellow Jews who happen to be liberals because they're really making the rest of us look bad. And a lot of Jewish liberals, ironically enough, are liberals first and Jews maybe 12th. But unfortunately, they give a lot of the rest of us a bad name. And I'm not afraid to say it. When I see Jewish liberals disgracing us with things like this impeachment, all I can do is know that these are the least religious, the least feel the least accountable to the actual Jewish religion to which they've been born into. In other words, they're the most secular. If you ever notice, Jews who are very secular and assimilated and liberal Jews, part of the ADL or the ACLU, they're the ones that get all upset about Christmas lights. Orthodox Jews who actually practice the religion, who at least revere the religion, they think the lights are pretty because they know who they are as Jews.
Yep, absolutely.
So that's something that a lot of Christians do not understand this time of year. Christians complaining about the Christmas lights, and they don't know who they are as a Jew.
Yeah.
They really don't.
I really appreciate you bringing that up. But I wanted to expand on that a little bit because I am very concerned. In college, I had a couple of my best friends were Jewish students back in Minnesota. And I think right now we are at a tipping point, and you can answer this better than most. I think we're at a tipping point with more hatred being inflamed in our society every day with anti-Semitism. And what happened in New Jersey a couple of days ago is indicative of what I'm talking about. Why? Why does this have to happen? What is the animus that drives people to do this?
It's a $62,000 question, and there's a lot of ways to answer it. If you're more of a religious person, you see it in religious terms that Jews are the people who brought the law. Now, many other religions, they still use our book as the basis for their own. Some people admit it, like the Christians, and some don't, like the Muslims. But in fact, people have a lot of animus towards those who brought the law. Now, Jews have no illusions, our religion has no illusions that we are imperfect. We are not, unlike people think, boy, I could go on like this forever, and I don't want to. A lot of people refer to us as the chosen people. The people that are least comfortable with that happen to be most Jews themselves, except for the Orthodox, who recognize that Jews basically are chosen not because they're better, but because they may have a special purpose for God. I mean, we had the original covenant. If you are not a replacement theologist, which says that, the covenant with the Jews is dead, and that seems pretty ridiculous given that we're still here and we weren't supposed to be. So we figure maybe God has a purpose for us being here. I certainly believe that. There's so much to say, it's hard to stay focused. But the secular reason for Jews being the target, frankly, has a lot to do with us being the canaries in the mine shaft. When you see Jews being targeted in a country, in a culture, all you got to do is look at who is targeting them for ugliness and genocide and holding the Jews in Israel to a higher standard than they hold any other country or any other people. And you will find some of the most dangerous people to others. For example, just because Jews were the canaries in the mine shaft in World War II doesn't mean we were the only ones who were targeted.
That's true.
So it's important to see who is targeting the Jews, because they never stop with the Jews. We just sometimes happen to be first. We're living in dangerous times, and it's not surprising that people like Joy Behar, who isn't Jewish, she may have been married to one a long time ago, and thus she has this name Behar, not sure the origins of it, said that it was a white supremacist who did this terrible atrocity in Jersey City, not far from where I used to live. But in fact, they were inspired by Louis Farrakhan, who's a Jew hater.
Yeah.
Furthermore, there's a lot of confusion about who has been wrestling up Jew hatred. I'm not saying any group has a monopoly, but I would say that the left is showing the most virulent anti-Semitism and virulent anti-Israel sentiments today, and yet they're blaming Donald Trump, who's one of the greatest people for the Jewish people and for Israel since Truman. So yet another way of turning things upside down.
And let me ask you this.
That wasn't too verbose, but that was as succinct as I could make it.
No, that's fine. I want to ask you another question there, though, before we run out of time. Through the Obama administration, and tell me again if I'm wrong, because you've studied this and know about it much more so than I do, but during the Obama administration, we saw a complete devastation and downplay of our relationship with Israel like they weren't needed. They're our only and best ally in that entire region of the world. Has the damage that was done by the Obama administration somewhat been rectified through the Trump administration?
Oh, not somewhat, enormously. Obama was not afraid to show his animus towards Israel and the Jewish people. He treated Bibi Netanyahu like he was a second-class citizen. He did involve himself in the elections in Israel, which is ironically sad, that they're now, accusing Donald Trump of precisely what Obama did and more. So not only did Trump do something that even Republicans were promising but never got around to doing because they didn't have any chutzpah, Donald Trump built and in record time the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem where it belongs, and everybody said, oh, there's going to be World War III if you do that. Oh, no. Trump has shown tremendous courage in standing up for Israel, standing up for the Jewish people, and he's not a Jewish wannabe. He is a Christian. He has Jewish grandchildren. His daughter converted to Judaism, but he's a friend of the Jewish people. And, meanwhile, Obama was out there sending boatloads of cash to Iran in order that Iran promised that it would wipe Israel off the face of the map and probably what it considers the great state in America as well. And you didn't see him being impeached. So the last thing I would say as quickly as I could is what helped me through the Obama years was actually a Jewish holiday called Purim, the story of Esther, in which everything seems upside down. Black is white. I don't mean racially. Up is down. Right is left. And then suddenly, if anybody's interested, they should study the story of Esther and the holiday of Purim, in which things aren't always what they seem, and God is working in ways where he's not even mentioned. It's a beautiful holiday, and I learned about it by living through the Obama years, believe it or not.
Karen.
In other words, God is not through with this country yet.
Absolutely.
And the very fact that Donald Trump is here, and I'm not the most religious person in the world, but we're living through extraordinary times. It feels like Purim sometimes.
Karen, I wished we had longer to talk this morning, but right now, leading up to Christmas, time is of prime value on this program, and I want to extend to you the very, very best of this great and wonderful holiday season. You're a wonderful lady to talk to, and I certainly hope as we go into the new year 2020 that you'll consent to come back on the program.
Oh, Zev, I love talking to you, and it is a wonderful time of year. I wish you a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and I look forward to talking to you more in 2020.
God bless you, Karen. Thank you so much, and the best to you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Wonderful lady. Wonderful lady. I enjoy having her on the program. I got to get a weather forecast on here, and we're going to give a ham away in just a moment. I've got some busy 12 minutes here. Right now, the weather brought to you by Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. Holy moly, you better stop in or give them a call. They can help you. And don't forget, they want to wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. And a reminder, it's tax planning time again, and also the next month of January is time to file those 1099s and W-2s. Better get that done. Find out more, give them a call at Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. Here's Gina with the weather.
Sunny skies for today, but it's still going to be cold. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting mostly sunny skies, high of 26. But when you factor in the wind chill, it's going to feel like -1. Winds out of the east at about 10 miles an hour, gusts as high as 22 miles an hour. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with a steady temperature of about 22. Tomorrow, slight chance of rain or snow in the afternoon. Mostly sunny skies, at least for most of the day, high of 34. We are expecting an overnight low of 27 and a 20% chance of snow showers by Friday. Partly sunny skies, warming up to 42, and Saturday, mostly cloudy and 41. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. And, of course, brought to you by Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. And they're wishing you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years, with offices at 625th Street in Rupert and 1710 Overland Avenue in Burley. And, of course, the name Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. Okay, let me see where I'm at right now. We got a whole bunch of things to get done in a short period of time on this remaining part of the hour. We are going to give away a ham right now. Another ham, compliments of Zeb at the Ranch and your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And if you answer the trivia question correctly, stay on the line, and Wheels will get your address. We'll send you a certificate for the ham that you can redeem at Smith's Foods in Burley and Twin Falls. Thanks to Smith's for being so helpful to us. And here's the question for today. Who was the Roman emperor when Jesus was born? Who was the Roman emperor when Jesus was born? Call me at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Quickly, and win a ham. Who was the Roman emperor when Jesus was born? Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. Was it Herod?
I said the Roman emperor. No, that's not the right answer. Thank you. Another call, welcome, and give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. Who was the Roman emperor when Jesus was born? Caller, good morning, you're on the air.
Caesar Augustus.
And who is this?
This is Dale Rasmussen.
Dale Rasmussen, is that what you said?
That's what I said.
Well, I hope you like to eat ham, Dale, because you just won a ham, and we'll have Wheels get your address over there at the studio, and we'll send you a certificate because you're the winner. It was Caesar Augustus. You're 100% right. Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless you, man. Thanks. Yep, Dale Rasmussen had the name right. It was Caesar Augustus. And when you look at chapter 2 of Luke, it mentions his name right off the get-go. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Wheels, did I have another call waiting over there?
Yes, sir.
I'll take them now if they're still there. Good morning, caller. Quickly, you're on the air.
Hi, Zeb. I won't keep you long. I just heard you talking about how President Trump's family is getting discouraged, and I don't blame him. I think a lot of us are. What would you think about if we could get a lot of people to send them a card with encouragement in it for Christmas?
Now, I think that is a phenomenal idea. We're running a little late here, but if I could have, would you mind sharing that up a little bit and getting a great big piece of paper or something that we could send back to the White House? Even if they get it after Christmas, it's still the thought that counts.
They need encouragement desperately.
I like that. I think that's one of the best ideas I've heard in a long, long time. As a matter of fact, I'm going to write that down, and we'll mention it tomorrow while we're at Denny's for our old-fashioned Christmas. Maybe we could start the ball rolling right there while I'm on the air. How's that?
I think that would be wonderful. So I'm saying to all your listeners, please send a card to them and write an encouragement in it.
I love that idea. Thank you 1,000 times over. I appreciate that. And if you get a chance, call me on my cell phone later today, and we'll kind of shotgun this thing together a little bit. My number is 312-2976, and call me. I love that idea, and I think it's very, very worthwhile. Thank you.
Can you say your number again?
Yep.
312-2976. 2976.
Right.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you. Thank you. Merry Christmas. Thank you so much.
Merry Christmas.
What a nice lady, and what a great idea. Send the Trumps a card, and at least let them know that folks here in southern Idaho think that he's doing a jam-up job, and we really appreciate it. Don't weaken. Stick your chin out and look the Democrats in the eye and tell them, well, I can't go that far. If you're hungry and starving to death, I know some great places to go to eat. If you're doing your Christmas shopping right now, oh my goodness, don't forget AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley. All the shakes, the eggnog shakes, the pumpkin shakes, all the different delicious burgers like the famous Farmer Brown burger. Oh, fries, special sauce. You're going to love it at the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. Wishing you a very Merry Christmas. Well, how about Taco Bandito at 2301 Overland in Burley? Oh, my. Pumpkin empanadas, street tacos, pork burritos, breakfast burritos. They've got it all. What a menu. What a great bunch of people. Serving you at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Great place to meet with your friends for coffee in the morning. Taco Bandito. And don't forget, too, Burgers, etc. 2 locations, 124 South Oneida in Rupert, and also 700 Overland in Burley. And by the way, they've got corn dogs or burritos only $1.39 after 3 p.m. Can't beat that. And pumpkin shakes, and they've got a different soup every day. Woo-hoo! Great people, nice people, serving you at Burgers, etc. in Rupert and Burley. And last but not least, Steve-O's at 290 South, 600 West of Heyburn. Food made the way you love it. Oh, they've got those delicious buffalo burgers and those cheesy broccoli spuds, and they've got cupcakes, a different flavor every week, and you can download a free app on your smartphone and order right from Steve-O's. Oh, my. Friendly servers, dedicated staff. Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 West of Heyburn, and they wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. And if you're hungry and starving to death, those are some great places for you to go. Once again, a reminder, tomorrow we're going to be over at Denny's Restaurant and the old-fashioned Christmas party. Santa Claus is going to be there. We're going to be there from 8 to 11. Come on down, come on down. Sounds like a Monty Hall TV show. And Santa Claus, like I said, is there. Ashley Ludlow is going to be singing Christmas carols. Special. Oh, you got to try that lumberjack special tomorrow that Thomas has put on special. Ooh, knock your boots off. And all of this and more at America's Diner, and that's Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. We're going to be there tomorrow for that great big old-fashioned Christmas party. I'm going to get out of here for about 7 minutes, and no, you know what I'm going to do quickly? I'm going to just tell you this good word real fast, and it's about our dear friends at 7K Metals. Deanne and I introduced to 7K Metals about a month ago, and boy, oh boy, is this a great way to help yourself build your financial security and future through silver purchases. That's right, silver purchases. And the silver comes right to your home. It's a great savings opportunity for you and a valued treasure for your loved ones. I urge you to get a hold of Lon Hardy at 312-8699 or Sharon Wilmot at 430-3259. Tell them I told you to call 7K Metals and silver for your financial future. We're going to the news. See you back in 7. Oh my, I have been blessed. We have 2 of the world's most famous individuals on our studio this morning, wearing their green uniforms that have been impeccably pressed. And we're going to be talking about that in just a moment. But right now, I want to remind you that our program brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. They have all your tires for whatever the weather throws at you. You stop in and see them today. Also, our dear friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And, of course, don't forget our dear friends, Kelly and Matt Wiggins at Greystone Crossing, Independent Senior Living. Oh, my goodness, I'm telling you, this is a beautiful place. A 12-bedroom home, and they furnish 3 meals a day, housekeeping, snacks, local transportation. They're just a mile east of Walmart on Alfresco Road. You call for an appointment to see this beautiful place at 650-4979. Once again, 650-4979. And that's Greystone Crossing Senior Living on Alfresco Road, wishing you and yours a very, very Merry Christmas. All right, I got to turn the microphones up, and then I'll make these introductions of these world-famous travelers that go all over the continent promoting better care for wildlife. And we have, of course, with us from the Idaho Fish and Game Regional Supervisor, Craig White. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb. I think I got promoted all over the continent.
Well, yeah, sometimes there's a little bit of that barnyard material on this program. But anyway... and then also the communications director for the Idaho Fish and Game for this region, Terry Thompson. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb.
You look really sharp today in a brand new shirt and new green vest, making money hand over fist.
Well, I think it's probably more along the line of I'm a little behind on my laundry on my uniform shirts, but I still have my uniform vest.
I'm so glad you told us that. I mean, that was information that was necessary.
Yeah, I thought it was an early Christmas gift from family, but...
Craig White, what's going on? I understand that the Fish and Game is going around with their eyes to the sky this morning, checking all the trees for cougars.
Yeah, it's been a little busy up north in the Wood River Valley.
That's what I heard. What's going on?
Well, over the weekend, we had a report and we verified that a individual had sadly lost their dog. A mountain lion was in the backyard and killed the dog. And another incident where it sounded like the individual let their dog out, and at the same time, mountain lion was kind of right there in the area, and they had an encounter. That individual was able to kind of yell or whatever, and the mountain lion left, and the dog survived. It did lose an eye and has some pretty serious stitches. And boy, on top of that, in another part of the Wood River Valley this morning, we started getting information rolling in that we have a possible fatality of a dog. Again, a mountain lion. This is a different area of the Wood River Valley. The area I just described where a mountain lion for sure killed a dog over the weekend was down in the Gimlet subdivision area.
Yeah.
Up in the Warm Springs area of Ketchum. It appears that from the eyewitness account, mountain lion jumps in, grabs the small 25-pound dog, and kind of takes off with it. And
Deanne, go hide Ruby.
We were looking at your dogs when we were coming in, wondering if they could chase mountain lions.
Old Red out in the kennel, he can chase anything. He's big and strong, but little Ruby, she's just nothing more than breakfast.
Well, we might have to borrow Big Red because we're trying to get houndsmen on that particular situation this morning. It's so fresh, we're hoping we can run that lion and tree it.
May I ask a question right there, Craig and Terry? Are there, not a lot, but are there people that you can call on that still run dogs quite a bit?
Oh, yes, there are. And before we completely leave, there was possibly a second dog attack this morning as well, and we're researching that. But yeah, there is actually quite a few folks. I'm always kind of surprised how many for this, population size that run hounds down in the South Hills, and there's some that are north that run hounds as well.
Why do you gentlemen think that this problem with the cougars, the mountain lions, is so prominent right now?
Well, I think one of the primary reasons is we have a number of resident deer and elk in the valley.
Oh.
And, in a sense, we're kind of setting the table, if you will. When the preferred prey base for a mountain lion would be those deer and elk. And so those animals in the valley are an attractant. The other thing is, a predator like a mountain lion is opportunistic.
Yeah.
They will or might take a small animal, be it a rabbit or a hare, or, if a pet presents itself.
Yeah, like a poodle?
Poodle or,
Ruby, go hide.
So, it's, I think we're pretty confident that you can point back to the resident deer and elk populations in the valley. And Craig and I talked about this on the way out with the predator-prey relationship.
You know what? In all the years, and you guys are going to laugh at me on this, but it's the truth, Craig, I've lived here over 50 years. I've never seen a cougar, a mountain lion, in the wild. Never. They're not just, I would think, readily available to see.
Well, yeah, they have a secretive nature, and the times I've seen it, it's been odd times. It's driving in the woods. I mean, you spend a lot of times too, and every once in a while you get that encounter where you just see one dart across the road. But mostly I've seen them because I've had deer and elk collared, and I've gone into those animals that are on mortality signals to find out what killed them, and every once in a while you'll see a lion in the area or on the animal.
How big are they normally? I mean,
a mountain lion?
At mature size.
So a big tom would be pushing. I mean, there have been ones bigger, like 160, but a mature tom, typically, when I say mature, a 3-4 year old tom, 120, but they have gone bigger.
Yeah. So in other words, if I step out the back door of my house and see one in a tree, I better be wearing my Depends because I might need them.
Lions are still, for the most part, they tend to have a fear of humans. But up there, when they start going on
keyword
porches,
tend.
Yes. Well, when they start to kind of decide that living among houses and taking pets, we get really concerned.
How do you, as a Fish and Game, take care of this problem, or how do you address it?
Well, it is a challenge. Every area in this region has probably different attitudes towards living with wildlife. Some like the deer or the elk in their backyard, but they don't like a woodpecker drone into their house. Others are more tolerant of that. And when it comes to bears and lions and wolves, the tolerance is typically, especially for lions, a lot less. And how we're trying to, have wildlife on the landscape. That's one of our missions: preserve, protect, perpetuate, and manage wildlife, and where possible, provide abundance of wildlife to be fished, trapped, and hunted. Mountain lions are a species that we have clientele that enjoy chasing lions with hounds, treating them, and just taking pictures, sometimes harvesting. Some people even like to, have a tag in their pocket when they see one going across the hillside. They like to stalk it a little bit and harvest it. So, certainly there is a desire and respect by some of our clientele for mountain lions, but when they get into the situations like that, narrow Wood River Valley, kind of this urban, suburban type situation, it gets real tough. They're there, like Terry said, because of deer and elk, and they aren't afraid at times. When they stop being afraid and start seeking out pets, we tend to euthanize them as our preferred action.
Terry, you were up in Alaska for quite a few years with the Fish and Game.
Yes.
Did they have the cougars and the mountain lions prominent up there?
No. In fact, cougars are not typically. Well, there's been a report of a single cougar up in the Fairbanks area, but mountain lions are not found in Alaska. It's too far north.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting distribution. So mountain lions, cougars, pumas, they're from basically South America up to into Canada, but they don't stretch too far past kind of that mid part of Canada.
So that's something you gentlemen are involved in right now.
Yeah, it's in fact this morning we were sitting in the office as these reports were basically coming in real time on us. The one thing I wanted to point out too real quick is, we're very concerned from a public safety standpoint when, like Craig has been saying, when we have, cougars inside city limits in people's backyards. That's why we're taking a pretty aggressive approach. We put some traps out, or we put a trap out, I guess on Monday, and now we have hounds up there. So we're taking this situation seriously and putting some resources to make sure that residents and visitors to the Wood River Valley can be safe.
Yep, absolutely. Something that we've talked about in the past, and we should mention again, and you wanted it added to the list this morning, chronic wasting disease. Now, is this something that is highly prominent and prevalent in deer only, or what?
Well, it occurs in deer pretty prominently, but it's also been detected in elk, moose, and even caribou. So it's a disease that affects the brain, spinal cord, and other nerve tissues in these species. There's a human counterpart of it, but as far as they know, consuming the meat of a deer, of an ungulate that has chronic wasting disease doesn't necessarily transfer the disease to humans, but that's also been largely untested. And so
How would they test that?
Well, and that's part of the challenge. Is it would have to be kind of a long-term study where you're evaluating folks that are in areas that that for years there's high levels of CWD in game, and kind of study and see if over time they develop the human version of it. But they are a different variety, and so it's suspected that it doesn't. At the same time, we tell people, don't consume.
Are there distinct signs, Craig, that a person that's hunting can detect before pulling that trigger?
Yeah, it pretty much, looks like a husband after Black Friday where they're staring vacantly off into the distance and ears are drooping.
Where did my credit card
Where did
go?
my money go? In all honesty, those are kind of the symptoms. The animal chronic wasting, and because the animal is actually losing body weight and fat, and so they really start to look, like they've been on a diet with no food.
Kind of like me, nice and thin.
Yeah, exactly like you. But unlike you, they do have that kind of, ears are drooping and this, and they all.
I got my headsets on, you can't tell.
Yeah. Salivating and just kind of,
really
just staring.
Does it resemble somewhat like a dog that might have rabies? Somewhat with the salivating? I don't know. I'm just asking, but I never thought about that. But if you see one up in the mountains or out hunting, what should a person do?
Well, if it was me, as a hunter, that's not the deer or elk
Absolutely
I would choose to take. But they, are reporting it to us and as quickly as possible so that we could try and get someone up on the ground before it moves off and make a decision of whether we need to euthanize it and test it.
Is it transferred from animal to animal with the saliva, perhaps, or what is the reason for transference?
Yeah, so couple ways. Like I said, the disease is in the brain, the spinal cord, and nerve tissue. So an animal that has it gets, dies or it becomes really prone to predation and it gets killed, and then that material is kind of spread on the landscape. It will persist in the soil, they've discovered, for a long time. So it's still in the soil. Another deer comes along or elk, and they munch on it, and they could get it that way, or it can be direct, nose-to-nose kind of contact.
I see. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Zeb, let me tell you experience I had with a cougar. I was up riding east of Oakley, chasing cows and stuff, and one day I rode into a grove of trees, and my horse stopped. My two dogs came over and got right underneath the horse, and I thought, well, there might be a cougar in here, so I just gently backed out and rode away. Well, nothing happened. About 2 weeks later, I had to go back into this grove of trees to check and fence, and I found a carcass of a 4-point buck deer. And I'm sure that cougar had just killed that deer, and he was right there. But I never did get to see him, but I have seen others alive up in the hills.
Well, I'll tell you what, you were interrupting his lunch.
Yeah?
I said, Bob, you were interrupting his lunch, and it's a good thing you and the dogs made it out of there all right.
Oh, yeah, everything was fine.
All right. Hey, Merry Christmas to you, Bob. Appreciate it. But you said very prominently that cougars, mountain lions, etc., they're not going to be that aggressive towards human beings normally.
Boy,
you rolled your eyes a little bit there, Terry.
Well, I've been doing some thinking on that. We try to predict behavior of wildlife. And it's really tough, and I thought about this last night, actually, and I'm going to use an Alaska example with moose, is that, typically you can walk by a moose and keep an eye on it, but not have much trouble. But you never know what that moose went through 10 minutes before.
Yeah.
And, all of a sudden you may be in the wrong place at the right time,
I'm living proof to tell you that if the moose is on the loose, you better go the other way. It happened to us about 3 years ago, and Deanne and I were lucky to get away from that big mama and her calves.
Sure.
Bad news.
And I would say that across the board for wildlife is, you have to be really careful by assuming that you know how that individual is going to react.
Well, there was a case, and I remember this vividly, I'm sure either one of you familiar with a big national publication called The Western Horseman. It's a big magazine.
Yeah.
And there was a story in there about a New Mexico rancher about 3-4 years ago that was out gathering cows in the fall and went underneath a rock, kind of a slide or edge, and he was attacked and just absolutely chewed to pieces by a mountain lion, a cougar down there. So, they could, want to subject their personality to being nice all the time.
No, you're right about that. You just, maybe this is unfair. I'm more of a dog person, but they are a cat, and they tend to have, just like every feline variety, they tend to have this kind of, at times, devil may care, I'll do what I want and when I want, and just sometimes they just take on that kind of personality. Sometimes it's a younger cougar that is probably still learning, exploring what is prey and what's not. And there have been reports in Idaho, no fatalities that I'm aware of, at least in the last 50 years, but in Idaho. There have been in California and elsewhere, but of reports, though, of hunters out there kind of crouched down over a deer, skinning it out, and having a mountain lion kind of pounce on their back, and kind of they roll, and then mountain lion kind of comes up and realizes, oh, I smelled the deer, I saw something crouched over, deer size, but this isn't a deer, and then walk off.
That could really destroy a hunting trip.
Yes. Yes, it could.
But now that is all the hunting done for this region or state of Idaho, or you still got some open hunts left?
No, we still have some open hunts, mostly cow elk hunts in this region. I believe there's some and some landowner permission hunt type things, but there's also across the state there's even some hunts, typically a landowner permission hunt that goes into January.
The reason I asked is I want to stay kind of close to this list. I wanted to hit real quick before I have to take a break. Commission meetings today regarding steelhead, and then it says January 22nd and 23rd in Boise. Explain that a little bit, would you?
So this morning the commission met by teleconference to take up the steelhead season. Folks remember we were anticipating some pretty low numbers on returning steelhead this year.
Really?
Especially on the Clearwater. And so we closed down the season. And luckily, our returning numbers, are stronger than what the estimate was. They're still not anywhere close to historical numbers, but the department made a recommendation to the commission this morning, and the commission voted to go ahead and reopen the steelhead season on the Clearwater, just because we feel we have enough returning fish to make our escapement goals for hatchery fish.
Okay, Terry, I think I asked you this last month, and I'm going to reiterate that question again. How do you know? I mean, what are the tests? What are the visual aids or whatever that you can tell that there's better numbers than you anticipated?
So I think a lot of that is we actually count fish coming through the dams, so we have a good sense on returning numbers.
I see.
Some of the fish.
How much does the guy get paid to sit there and watch that camera and count fish?
Some days I wish I could be doing that job. Craig, I'm just kidding on that one.
I thought he was volunteering. Most of that's automated now. They put little tags in the fish electronically, and there's the scanners pointed at the dam.
I can just see this guy. His eyes are wide open, and he's bleary-eyed, and he's going 1,002, 1,003, and his cell phone rings, and he answers it, and he goes, oh, no. 1, 2.
Starts over. I see him with toothpicks, propping the eyes open. But
yeah. These little things that Craig was talking about are called a pit tag. It's passive integrated transponder for those that want to know
I
what
knew
PIT
that.
means. But
I assumed you did, so I didn't say anything.
But it's about the size of a grain of rice, and they're injected into the fish, especially those that in a hatchery situation, they're injected into the abdominal cavity. So then when those fish are returning, we have these detectors in the dams, and then using modeling statistics, they can then kind of make estimates on total returns.
Holy cow.
It's very complicated. I can barely spell biometrician, but those are the guys that do all the statistical work to figure that out.
These are the guys that get paid the big bucks with the big black rimmed horn glasses, etc.
They're pretty much that nerd that was sitting in the back of your math class that aced every test and barely.
Jimmy Foss, I'll never forget him. Yeah, he knew everything.
He's probably doing that.
No, he's in prison right now.
So he probably skimmed some money maybe and did a little different math.
Well, okay, but you talked about Steelhead. Now, what's the meeting on January 22nd and 23rd in Boise?
So this is one of our meetings. So every year there's 6 to 8 commission meetings held, and every year in January and March they're held in Boise. And in the January meeting, we'll cover whatever topics are kind of up in front of them, but every year for sure it's a chance to look at fur bearers and upland game. Now, we're on a 2-year cycle, and so we don't necessarily change, the commission doesn't necessarily change any regulations unless there's an emergency need to. But this year, we're on cycle to pass the next 2 years. So they'll pass for upland game seasons and fur bearer harvest seasons. They're going to have those recommendations in front of them and make some decisions.
I've got to pay some bills, and then we'll take a real short break, and we'll come back with more of the Fish and Game and thank them for being here on this Wednesday, December 18th. Don't forget Patterson's Electronics at 421 East Main in Burley. With Curtis and Lorena, the entire staff serving you with all your electronic needs. What a great place to go Christmas shopping. They've got all the home theater systems. They've got the video surveillance cameras, all the car stereos and speakers, all the complete sound systems. And if you want to enjoy a great big television set, brand new in your home, they've got Samsung, Sony, Toshiba, LG TVs. What a selection, and nice people. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6. Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley. Number to call, 678-6997. Right now, we'll send it over to Wheels. Be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
You know, I give these guys a hard time every time they show up every month, but really they're nice people, and they're so diligent and hardworking. Oh, I dropped that card. Give it back to me, the card you gave me, Terry. We have Craig White and Terry Thompson with the Idaho Fish and Game, and always a pleasure to have you. You were talking during the break that maybe you wanted to comment a little bit more on that chronic wasting disease.
Yeah, I wanted people to know. We saw it throughout the hunting season where people came into the state. Either they were passing through, just coming from another state to the east of us and headed to Wyoming, or Washington or Oregon, or they were Idaho residents coming in and had hunted in another state. I just wanted people to be aware that the legislative passed rules or supporting rules of the Idaho Fish and Game Commission that you can no longer use natural urine from deer, elk, moose, reindeer, or caribou to hunt big game because of potential having chronic wasting disease can be in the urine as well. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is, if you do hunt in a state or province that has CWD, and it's up to you to go out and look at the map. We have a map on our website at idfg.idaho.gov/CWD that shows the different states and provinces with CWD, and we update that as that changes. But you can't bring in a whole deer or elk or moose from these other states anymore that have CWD. We only allow the meat if it's cut and wrapped, or if it's quarters that are deboned and does not include brain or spinal tissue. edible organs that do not include brain. So you can bring in the heart and liver, but you just can't bring any brain tissue in.
Right.
You can bring hides without heads. You can bring in dried antlers with a dried skull cap, or you can bring in a dried skull with the brain tissue removed. But that all has to be done outside of the state. You can't bring it in and do it at your house. One reason is to try and prevent the spread of CWD in Idaho.
Absolutely.
We got it right on our borders. It's in Montana, it's in Wyoming, it's in Utah. There's other ways it could end up in the state, but we're doing everything we can to minimize the risk.
Very good. Very good. Mandatory big game reporting, and let's just kind of hit on a couple of these topics. We're running short on time. Within 10 days of harvest, explain that a little bit.
So if you hunt deer, elk, moose,
deer, elk, pronghorn.
Hunters are required to submit a mandatory report within 10 days of harvest.
Okay.
Now, if you hunt like I do and you get to the end and you've been unsuccessful, then
that's me too.
Yeah, then you have to report within 10 days of the close of the season. And these numbers are very important to us because that's how we're able to know how much harvest occurred, how many hours or days folks were in the field hunting.
Yeah.
So we collect a lot of data from that mandatory report. We make it easy for people to report. They can either go online to our website, idfg.idaho.gov/hunt/report. Or you can call a 1-800 number, or it's a 1-877-268-9365. You can call that 24/7.
Okay.
Somebody will always be there. You can give us a call in the regional office. We can help out with that. But it really is important that we get our hunters to file those mandatory reports.
There's another disease that deer have when I'm up in the hills hunting. It's called laughing disease.
Yeah.
Because of the way I shoot. And you'll find most of them laying on their back, kicking their feet up in the air, laughing themselves to death. I'm the poorest shot in the world. Anyhow, herd comp underway. How do you use that data of finding out all about what the herds look like?
So the herd comp stands for composition. So every year we have some key areas, South Hills and then north, where we take a helicopter and we go out and fly in those areas for about 10 to 15 hours. What we're trying to do is go out and count roughly 500-600, 1,000 deer if we can, and we're trying to get the composition. So how many males, females, and fawns, and that gives us an idea of kind of fawn-doe ratio of what that's looking like and what recruitment could be like, and then buck-to-doe ratios are objectives that we have in our mule deer management plan, and we want to see a certain ratio of bucks to does. And so this is our way of going out before antlers start dropping later in the season and just get an estimate of that composition ratio that we use in our management, along with these mandatory hunter reports that Terry talked about. Every 3 to 5 years, we'll do a more intensive survey, and we're actually estimating the population in a geographic area.
Okay.
But these are more to get that ratio of males, females, and young of the year.
I don't want to waste a lot of time on this, but I want to ask a question. When you go up there, was it you, Terry, one time on the program, or somebody said that you basically lay kind of like graph paper down and you're in this area counting, and then you go to another section of the graph and count? How do you know you're not counting the same herd twice just by moving into another geographic area?
Well, that can be a challenge, and that's our full surveys, more or less, that we do that, although we do have to be aware, and we don't keep flying the same area for our composition count either, but we do have to be aware of that, and we use GPS to kind of track our movements and also pinpoint where we saw animals, and we record the animals' behavior, whether they're standing, bedded, or running. And typically when we're working, what we call a subunit, that square you were talking about, which can be square, irregular, whatever, but if we encounter elk or deer, whatever we're surveying on the edge, if we're going to survey the next, square over, we're aware of that, and we try and watch what those animals do, and we might jump into that next square as quickly as possible to avoid double counting.
I see.
Double counting is a possibility, but we really try and avoid it.
You do this in a helicopter.
Yes.
And who leans out and does the counting?
Well, these are...
How good is the seatbelt?
Yeah, well, if you think of the old MASH style helicopters, those are essentially what we prefer to fly, those the Hillers and Sloys, and I'm not kidding, and it has become more of a challenge to actually find those helicopters still in operation.
Well, right there's some key words. Helicopters still in operation.
Yes.
In other words, these are the old timers.
Not all of them date back to Korean War.
How comforting to be a new member of the Fish and Game, and you're told to lean out on the pontoon of a 1941 helicopter.
So we don't ask them to lean out because those ships have the big bubble, those MASH, and so you can actually, and that's why we fly with them. They have great visibility, but we have some crazy people that probably would, are trying to lean out. And
that's true. You do.
Yes.
I had to throw that in. I'm sorry.
No, you're looking right at me, and I
would not do that.
Yeah.
I get airsick anyway, and to be leaning out, counting, and everything. I mean, that's probably a really responsible job too. I mean, you got to keep track.
You got to find someone who's, a little crazy.
Yeah, and you got to have a pilot you trust.
Oh, absolutely. And we have a saying. Pilots have a saying as well that there's young and bold pilots and old pilots, but there's not old and bold pilots.
Ain't that the truth? Okay, now's a great time to get your 2020 licenses, right?
Absolutely. It's
they both looked at each other like, your turn.
Well, I didn't want to steal all of Terry's thunder.
Yeah, we're coming up on the end of January or end of December.
Better not be, or I miss Christmas and I'm teed off.
Yeah, but so we always just like to remind people that especially if you're a waterfowl hunter or that you're going to need that 2020 license.
Yeah,
but get it taken care of early. And I know, there's nothing better than getting a gift certificate underneath the tree that you can use to go down and buy your 2020 license.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
At 365 days of fun with it. So,
what does a license cost? Fishing and or hunting and or combo?
So I'll fill time while Craig digs into the
Sorry,
rule book
boys.
here. But so if you are, and I'm going to jump to without price lock.
Okay.
So we have two different pricing structures right now. But, if you wanted to get what we call a sportsman's package, which gives you the world, everything that you're going to need to hunt and fish in Idaho, $145.
For the year.
That's license
and that's
tag.
Everything. License tag, everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're just a waterfowl hunter, you're just going to need a hunting license, and that's $1,575.
Oh man,
that's, pretty good. And then along with that, you'll need some permits. You'll need the state permit as well as the federal
waterfowl permit. What about just a good old fishing license?
Oh man, that's like
$30.
$30. I'm not saying that I'm loaded with money because that's not the case. But when you figure the fishing season and the time you can devote to it and everything, and people complain about $30, you're going to spend that at a rotten grade B movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Easy,
And that's not including the popcorn either, by the way.
Yeah, but, if you want to do the combo, get a hunting and fishing license both, it's only $39.
Oh, there you go.
So, I mean, it's truly a bargain.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a good time to point out that we don't receive tax dollars to fund fishing game. We're pretty heavily reliant on our sale of hunting and fishing licenses, so it all comes back to the agency to help us manage fish and wildlife.
I got to put this in here right now, boys, and it was really nice of both Craig and Terry to walk in the door this morning and say that immediately after this program, they're taking Deanne and I over to Edith's Cafe at 144 East Highway 81 in Burley. What a great place to eat. Tuesdays through Thursday, 11 to 8, Fridays and Saturdays, 11 to 9. They literally have everything on the menu that you could possibly want and love to eat. Let me tell you, you better get over there. Like on Wednesdays after 5 p.m., they've got the tri-tip special, rolls, salad, choice of side. It's delicious. And then, of course, all their specialty sandwiches all day long. You better get over there, enjoy the people, enjoy the food at Edith's Cafe. And the number, 878-2248. They're located at 144 East Highway 81 in Burley, right across from the golf course. And they're waiting to feed you. Right now, quickly, we're going to have a weather forecast brought to you by Don Scarrow and the crew at Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Telephone number 324-7657, or you can go to their website, check out all the delicious meats at scarrowsmeats.com. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Sunny skies for today, but it's still going to be cold. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting mostly sunny skies, high of 26. But when you factor in the wind chill, it's going to feel like -1. Winds out of the east at about 10 miles an hour, gusts as high as 22 miles an hour. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with a steady temperature of about 22. Tomorrow, slight chance of rain or snow in the afternoon. Mostly sunny skies, at least for most of the day, high of 34. We are expecting an overnight low of 27 and a 20% chance of snow showers by Friday. Partly sunny skies, warming up to 42, and Saturday, mostly cloudy and 41. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zep at Duran.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to everybody by Don Scarrow and his great crew at Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Again, that telephone number, 324-7657. Oh, yes, at Scarrow's Meats, they are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Real quick, I know where everybody's shopping at Christmas time, and it's Santa's favorite place to shop, and that's, of course, Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Wow, have they got some great specials for you, like they've got sectionals starting at just $8.99. They've got sofas starting at $3.99. Dining room sets 40% off. They've got all the window coverings 40% off. Great low buys on mattresses and bedroom sets. Better get in there. That's where Santa's shopping at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. 459 Overland and Burley. Jeff and the crew are waiting to serve you right now at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. You know, Fishing Game gift certificates make great Christmas presents, and they're available at the regional office, correct?
Absolutely. So if you want to get a gift certificate, you need to come over to our office in Jerome.
Okay.
And because you can't buy those at your local vendor.
Right.
But come over. It's a great opportunity to visit with our staff at the front desk. And because we talk hunting and fishing every day, but what a great place to, or great gift to give people. I know I'd be pretty excited if I had one under the tree this year.
Are you guys over there at the Fishing Game, are you kind of into the Christmas spirit? Like if I come over there, you've got a tree up and you've got eggnog available and soft, cushy chairs and all that type of thing?
Pretty close. You must have been there in the last couple of days because
really?
we do have a tree up. The eggnog might kind of come out of a can.
We'd find some for you if you showed up. So,
really?
Yeah, we'd find
Don't
some.
be surprised if this fat little Santa shows up over there.
Well, do and give us a few minutes to run to the store, but we'll have some.
Just give us some heads up.
What about waterfowl hunting? Birds have been moving down. What does that mean?
Well, so I've had the opportunity in the last couple of weeks to be down in the Hagerman area, and lots of waterfowl hunting going on the Snake River.
There's a bunch of them over here in Murtaugh, too.
Sure.
Wow.
You know, the other night I was out with my new pup, and probably, 1 o'clock in the morning, and you could hear the ducks going over.
You were out at 1 o'clock in the morning with your dog?
Well, when they're only 9 weeks old.
You mean you had to go outside with the dog?
Yeah.
Right over my head. Sorry. Okay. I thought you were counting wildlife and birds and everything else.
No, but it's there's some great waterfowl hunting going on this time of year, and it's one of those things. The big game seasons have wrapped up, or like Craig says, we've got a couple lingering on. But it's a great opportunity to get outside, keep that hunting and fishing heritage going on. But right now, I talk about fishing. We're going to start seeing some more ice fishing opportunity as it's cold. But we talk about a license being a 365-day opportunity. Just because it's cold outside doesn't mean that you have to put up the shotgun or put the poles away.
In Alaska, is there a lot of ice fishing up there?
Oh, it is big pastime.
What do you do to drill a hole in all that ice? Call the Air Force and have them bomb in a certain area or something, or what?
So, yeah, I've been out on the ice a few times when it was 36, 40 inches thick.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So, the auger that you thought was plenty long, you've hit you hit the end of the auger and you still got ice below you.
Now, as cold as it is up there, though, I mean, sure, you've made your hole, okay? And you're sitting there all ready to go fishing. Doesn't that thing freeze up right away?
It can, so you have those ice skimmers that you use to keep the ice hole open.
What is that?
Well, it's just like a ladle, actually, and that way.
How do you bend down 40 inches to stick your ladle in the water? For heaven's sakes!
No, it only freezes right at the surface.
Oh,
so but the thing is, we used to do because I'm not there, but they still do these fishing events for school kids, and they'll go out and drill 500 holes, and then. All day long they're having to keep them open, but then they go back the next day for the next group of kids, and they've got to reopen those 500.
How much will it freeze like overnight?
I think there's probably a couple inches.
Wow. But the thing is, use caution before heading out on the ice. That goes without saying, Craig. I mean, you give about an inch of ice and these guys are ready to drive a great big 4-wheel drive ton truck out there.
Yeah. Yeah, and we don't get that thick of ice in Idaho.
No.
Maybe the only place close could be...
It's dangerous out there.
Yeah.
Have you had any, like up there at some of the reservoirs and everything, you have kind of scenic tours during the summertime to show everybody where the pickups are?
Where the pickups are, where the new fish habitat is, and snowmobiles and everything else. Every once in a while we hear about trucks going under, and that's, I'm sure, not a...
I'm from Wisconsin, and the lake that I was talking to you about, Lake Kushkonong, that's right next to where I live. I mean, literally 2 miles away. Huge lake, and every winter, just as sure as I'm sitting here, 5 or 6 pickups will go through, and a couple of the ice shanties, whether there were people inside or not at the time, I don't know. But it's not, you got to be careful out there.
Yeah, I think so. Terry obviously has experienced it at many different levels, many different elevations and latitudes and everything else, but it would make me a little nervous.
What does make ice safe enough to drive on? How many inches?
Boy, we probably by rule of thumb wouldn't even suggest that a person go out on it till it's probably 4 inches or more.
Yeah. And if you hear cracking, you got problems.
Yeah, that kind of makes you pucker a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But, I've driven my truck out on Cascade Lake years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe I wasn't the smartest tool in the box when I did that, but...
your words, not mine.
Yeah, but, the thing that I always enjoy about ice fishing, because, we take a cooker out there and...
It never ceases to amaze me. These guys will wait till the ice freezes 4 to 5 inches, and then they'll put a fire on the ice and all these cookers.
Yeah, to me, I think the brain gets shut off for ice fishermen because it's frozen.
You and I are on the same page.
Yeah, I'm like, a little larger body, and it's like 4 inches sounds pretty thin to me.
But it's fun. It's a lot of fun, and it's a great way to spend time with family and friends.
Yeah, freezing to death together.
Yes.
I love that. Join hands, everybody freezes to death.
Family bonding there, and if you're in one of those shacks, you're crowded in. I haven't been in one, but been described to me. They're so small. That's real family bonding.
Yeah.
Who uses a shack?
Yeah,
you just stand out.
You're going to find out who didn't put the deodorant on. I'll tell you that for sure. Anyway, I want to remind everybody we're brought to you. This whole thing has been brought to you by our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with all the different tires, all the different tread designs that you need to drive through whatever the weather throws at us. And don't forget, they've got all the tire chains. They've got the best in brake service with highly trained brake technicians, front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, and I'll bet you there were a lot of people yesterday morning that went out to turn on their 4-wheeled Wonder and the battery said click, 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 click. Make sure you've got a good battery at this time of the year, and they've got the best. It's your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike in Buell, Mike in Jerome, Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline and Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland Overland in Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Terry Thompson, Craig White, thank you. Merry Christmas.
Hey, Merry Christmas to you as well, Zeb, and your family. We hope you enjoy it.
We will, and hopefully we'll be talking to you again next month, New Year 2020, and we'll have another fun year.
We'll be here.
Okay, don't fall through the ice.
No.
Okay.
No, but Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Same to you guys. Audience, we're done for the day, where we always say the way things were, the way things ought to be. And in 4 words that sum it up, in God we trust. You and yours, don't forget, we're going to be at Denny's Restaurant tomorrow in Burley, 611 North Overland, for the old-fashioned Christmas party at 8 o'clock in the morning until 11. My show time, Santa Claus, Christmas carols, everything at Denny's. Don't miss it tomorrow. Wheels, Merry Christmas.